Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday, it's September 8th. It is 2023. We're just a couple days away from the first NFL main slate of the year, but baseball season is still in full go. We have a nice 11-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast, joined by my good buddy Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, I'm sure you're in the pick'em streets for this Thursday night football game. What's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, man. Doing good. That pick six definitely, I think, changes the outcome or the feel of this game. Stevie, man, I thought you were gonna hit our nice pun here and say baseball was still in full swing, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm still into baseball. I didn't get into baseball today because I didn't like the slate. But in general, I do like the one coming up. So this should be an interesting one. Coming off some football, got some college football coming, baseball, NBA will be here in 47 days. NHL will be here in, I don't know the exact one, but we're about to have a smorgasbord of sports to take part in. And I am excited. Soccer's going on right now. And I think EPL will be back in 2 weeks. English Premier League. So it's going to be a lot going on. Yeah, excited to come on and talk some baseball yet again.
Derek says, FYI, Stevie, you're not live. Listen, I am Stevie. I am not TJ. What up? I guess that's an inside joke if you listen to the morning grind when TJ was filling in for me when I was on vacation. So totally forgot to hit the live button. We've all been there. I never have, but
he told me the story. Supposedly they just were actually just into the middle of the podcast and we're like, wait, we're not recording.
It happens, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that before, but yeah. I told TJ I think I've done it before just to make him feel good, but I don't think I've ever done that before. All right, let's talk some baseball. Baseball in full swing, as Will Punley said. This football game's going. We're kind of sweating out this football game as well. I know I did a lot of pick'em. I didn't do a ton of DFS like showdown stuff. I'm not a huge showdown fan. I've talked about this for years. But I played like one lineup. It's dead now, so I don't care. But I need a few more catches from St. Brown. That's like my big thing on this Thursday night football game. So I need St. Brown to get more than like 6.5 catches in this game. So we're close.
Mine is Montgomery yards.
Yeah, so there we go. Be watching that. Let's get into it and have some fun. We got Milwaukee at New York facing the Yankees. 9 total in this game. Yankees are 125 favorites. I think it's just more pitching here. Colin Ray on the hill for Milwaukee. Severino on the hill for New York. Let's go Ray first. I think one of the reasons the Yankees are a pretty big favorite in this game is Colin Ray on the hill. Do you have any interest in Colin Ray here?
No.
That's kind of where I'm at. This is definitely a team that if you have strikeout ability, you can attack them. He just not. And I mean, if we look back throughout his career, he's definitely had some fly ball tendencies. I don't think you want fly ball tendencies against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. So I'm going to stay away from Ray today. Severino, he put together a couple good games here recently against Detroit and Washington. Got hit back up last time by Houston. He's cheap at 5,500. Any interest in Severino here?
Stevie, I can't. I know he's had this one game where he was pitching better, but or maybe like 2 games against Washington and Detroit. I'm not playing Luis Severino.
Yeah, career high Sierra, career high xFIP, career high WHIP, career low strikeout per 9. Low swinging strike rate, career low swinging strikes, career low strikeout rate in general. Like, that's not what you want. You don't want career high Sierra whip, hard hit rate. Like, you don't want all that. And then
he's looking for love in all the wrong places.
Nailed it. Severino's cheap here, but I'm more interested in the Milwaukee bats today than I am in Severino.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Brew Crew here. I mean, it's not the most gorgeous stack on the slate when you're just looking at some of the guys you got to play, but I mean, I think you want to attack this matchup against Severino. Frelick and Yelich, probably my two favorites in this spot. I'll probably find maybe one or two other pieces. I don't know. I think this is more of a 3 or 4 man stack. I don't think it's a full 5-on-5 here, 5-man stack. So I think this is a spot we could definitely look at some of these Brewers bats against Severino though.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carlos Santana's back there. You got to kind of choose between him and Rowdy. I think I would just kind of split them, Stevie. And this is one of those situations where if I'm building in match multi-entry, I put Santana and Rowdy in a player group, and I say, hey, it's automatically going to force me to get one or the other anyway. But just maybe have them in a group so it knows like I want these guys in there. And Santana's probably one of those ones where I say I only played in the stack, hit out a nice little OIS function, and go from there. You talked about Yelich. I mean, he's been playing a lot better down the stretch here, so I don't hate him. And then I know Connor's righty today, but he's been a guy that's just one of the guys that I like to call a professional hitter. He's not Michael Brantley. He's going to make good contact. He's going to have good plate discipline most of the time. And hopefully it will be able to drive some runs in. So, if I'm stacking, I kind of want to get him in there. I'm with you. Don't want to go 5 deep on this team, but 3 to 4 for sure.
The other side of this game, the Yankees bats here. I mean, I think this is a spot we can definitely look at. Judge Dominguez has been really solid for the Yankees since getting called up. Torres,
check those rookie cards.
Yeah. So I think overall this is a spot we could look at the Yankees. I kind of hope Austin Wells cracks the lineup here. Just a cheap catcher at 2,600 would make the overall stack work. St. Brown with a catch. Need 2 more. What are your thoughts on the Yankees bats?
Yeah, definitely like the Yankees here. You talked about Judge. He's the big bat at 6,500. Stanton right behind him. Dominguez. Gleyber Torres has been my favorite Yankee this season, so I definitely wouldn't be leaving him out. LeMahieu's still cheap. So, yeah, I'm with you. If Wells cracks the lineup at 2,600, he's absolutely a good play. So I like this team a lot. And against Colin Ray, they definitely should be able to put up a few runs.
I don't know if I like him a lot, but I like the fact that he's a cheap catcher. Cheap catcher alert, baby. Cheap catcher alert. Dodgers at Nationals. This game is a 10 total. The Dodgers are a 175 favorite here. We have Emmett Shaheen going up against Mackenzie Gore. Any interest here in Shaheen?
No.
I have slight interest. He's 6,800. It's a big slate. We're going to like some bats that we're going to talk about. They are ramping his pitches back up. He came back to the majors and threw 76 pitches last time out. Wouldn't be shocked if he goes like 85 here. Typical 10-ish pitch increase. So 85 pitches, 6,800. He has, decent strikeout stuff, but he's not typically a guy that goes out and gets blown up. Washington doesn't have a ton of power, so I think he's okay. Like ceiling wise, probably not the highest ceiling guy, but I think he's just okay on this slate. I think I classify him as just like an okay play today. So
I get it, man. I just if they haven't been elite strikeout guys, I've just been avoiding Washington, and that's really my stance. So that's why my interest, but I understand the price for sure.
Well, they've moved some guys in and out of this lineup. They're striking out a little bit more, so that's something you got to watch as well. Mackenzie Gore on the other side. I mean, Mackenzie Gore is someone that is very capable of striking out hitters, but I mean, do we really want to play Mackenzie Gore against the Dodgers? I don't.
I'm absolutely not going to play Mackenzie Gore against the Dodgers. Stevie, I think you may have gotten another catch there.
I did. So
yeah, definitely not playing him against the Dodgers. His strikeout rates have really come down as the season has gone along, Steve. So earlier in the season, Mackenzie Gore was a guy, 25, 26, 27, 28, pushing 30, a 30% K rate. And as the season has gone along, that's really come down. And not only that, even over the past month, it's just, low 20s and even under that in some spots. So I can't in good conscience play him against the Dodgers.
Yeah, tough spot. As far as the Dodgers bats go, I mean, looking at this matchup for the Dodgers, we're gonna likely get a really close lineup to what we saw yesterday against Garrett. So Taylor, Kiki, Rosario, Betts, they should all be in the lineup here. Freeman lefty, Muncy lefty. I don't hate it. I definitely think they're a playable stack on this slate.
Yeah, for sure. When I look at this lineup overall, I'm all about the lefty with Freddie at 6,100. This team as a whole could definitely put up some runs today. And I think a lot of the lefty spots, we're going to kind of leave out. Mookie at 6,700. He's expensive, excuse me. But I mean, man, him and Freddie have just been incredible, really, down the stretch here. So I'm into those guys. Muncy would probably be the bigger bet I would leave out if I had to choose between him and Will Smith. I probably decided I wasn't going to play Muncy. But if I'm going to stack this team, I think I've got another, borderline cheap pitcher that I feel like I could take to get some of these bigger offenses in there. And so that's the way I think I would approach it.
I forgot to mention that JD Martinez is expected back for this game. Two rehab games, I think Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday. But JD Martinez coming back here at 5,200 against the lefty is very interesting as well. So don't hate that. As far as Washington bats, I want to attack Shaheen when I'm not playing him with a lefty. Abrams, Ruiz, Blankenhorn, Dom Smith. Like I want to take lefties. It's not a stack spot for me. I could see maybe using a one-off or maybe a little like two-man type of stack. But yeah, I definitely want the lefties here for the Washington bets.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to agree with you on that.
There we go. We got Miami at Philadelphia.
Yeah,
they're getting out of Miami. 9 total in this game. Phillies a 150 favorite. We got Perez and Sanchez. Yuri Perez. I mean, this game in Miami, maybe have a little interest in Perez here. He has been way better at home than he has been on the road. I'm shocked.
As are most of the Miami pitchers.
I mean,
it's so weird.
They played if they played all of their games, 162 games at home, they'd have 100 wins. I would bet money on that because I mean these pitchers are just such home road split guys. But yeah, I mean Yuri Perez, he's a guy that I like the ceiling overall. I think he's very talented. I don't love the spot.
Yeah, so for me, I do think he's one of those viable GPP pitchers at 8,800, and I kind of talked about this. I guess these guys that I would consider semi, Steve, and I'm saying semi cheap. He's one of them, right? It's really this kind of mid 8K range. If I can just double up there today, to me, that's kind of how I might be able to get some of these bigger offenses in the kind of a double slight mid range. I like Perez today. Once again, I'm with you. He's on the road. These guys on the road from Miami. Jeez, man, just what are they doing? But at 8,800, he does have some upside. I'm not expecting him to go past 90 pitches, but he does have upside for 7-8 strikeouts in 6 innings. And so that's kind of where I am with that.
Any interest in Sanchez on the other side here?
He's borderline for me. The problem is he just doesn't have real upside. Like he's kind of a low ceiling guy, right? Like high floor, low ceiling, not even high floor, but his ceiling to me in a general sense is like 20 fantasy points, and his floor maybe like 10 in a general sense, like reasonably. So could he go out and get 15 points today? Yes. And might that be enough? Maybe. But I think I'd still just stick in the mid 8K range.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sanchez is super interesting today just because, like, with Soler out of the lineup, you're taking out one of the best hitters in this lineup, especially against left-handed pitching. So, matchup wise, yeah, it's definitely a better matchup. I mean, I'd have a ton of interest in Sanchez today if this game was going to be in Miami. I'd have interest in both of these pitchers, but I mean, we're getting a really high total here. A lot of runs projected to be scored in this game overall. So, Sanchez, I think, is another guy you could definitely take some shots on in large field tournaments. You're hoping he gets 5 to 7 strikeouts and he just limits the runs and scores
Yeah,
20 plus points.
absolutely.
Miami bats. See, this is one of the reasons that I kind of have some interest in Sanchez because outside of like Jake Berger and maybe Josh Bell, they just haven't been great against left-handed pitching this season, especially with like Soler out of the lineup.
Yeah, I get it. I don't want to stack the Miami Marlins today. So I totally get it.
The Philadelphia side, Trey Turner was put on paternity list on Tuesday. We'll see if he's back or not for this game. There's a possibility that he is back for this game, so that definitely would help the lineup overall. Perez gives up a lot of power to both sides of the plate. A lot of fly balls. This is why this guy definitely succeeds way more at home. I don't mind a Philly stack today. They're expensive.
Yes.
Like I mean, technically they're a pivot off of Atlanta because, pricing wise, they're a pivot off Atlanta. So I think Philly would be really low owned today. And I think this is a spot you could take some shots on them.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Stevie, because that's something I was going to bring up. As much as I like Perez for tournaments, I like this team as well. Perez is still a young pitcher. You got Harper at 6K, who will kind of be leading the charge here. Castellanos 5,200, Schwarber 57. Like you talked about, this team is priced up. Jake Cave has been playing a little bit as well, and you can get him in the outfield at 2,600 if he plays, which will open it up a little bit. You got Bone at 4,500. So if you want to play this team, you got to go get this team. I'm definitely willing to go get this team today against a young pitcher in a good hitter's ballpark.
All right, we're moving on. We got Kansas City at Toronto. No total or 9 total in this game. The Blue Jays a 200 favorite. It sounds like a opener situation. Then Alec Marsh out of the bullpen, long relief type of situation, and then Kikuchi starting for Toronto. So, are we touching this Kansas City situation at all?
No, not in this spot. Maybe if Marsh was facing a worse team, and I know Toronto hasn't been great, don't get me wrong, but if he was facing a worse team, I'd probably be interested because he is going to have enough pitches in his long relief role, but I don't think the Toronto spot is it.
Yeah, I'm not touching this matchup. I will say that it's nice that both Marsh and Snyder are righties when we talk about the bats.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about those platoons. Let's talk Kikuchi here. 8,200, huge favorites in this game. Kansas City has been better recently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, better. I'm not saying they're elite by any means. I'm saying they're better.
Yeah.
And like Kikuchi, like he went on a strand there for like a month or so. He was pitching really good, but he's had some tough matchups. He faced Baltimore. He faced Cleveland, low strikeout team, and then he was pitched in Coors. Is this a bounce back spot here for Kikuchi at 8,200?
Stevie, we were talking about these cheaper guys. Like, this is another one of those guys, Stevie, where it's like, okay, 8,200. Yes, Kansas City's been playing better. But one of the things that hasn't fallen off is the strikeouts, right? He's just been giving up runs. But the strikeouts, last couple of games, Cleveland, 6 strikeouts, low strikeout team. Philly, tough team, 7 strikeouts. Baltimore, fairly tough team, 6 strikeouts. Cleveland again, 8 strikeouts. Colorado, 6 strikeouts. Stevie, the strikeouts are going to be there, I think, for him. And so all we need him to do is limit the run damage. So I'm in on Kikuchi today. I think he's one of the better options for tournaments at 8,200 because the fantasy production hasn't been there recently.
Yeah, I think he is very much in play today. I've been targeting the Royals a lot recently, like hitting wise. And I mean, this is a spot where I could see it going either way. So like talking about these Royals bats, like Obviously, Witt should be towards the top of the list. Velasquez has been crushing the baseball. Garcia should hit leadoff here. I don't mind a little mini stack. I'm not fully stacking Kansas City in this spot, but again, these guys are cheap. Like, overall, it's just a stack that I've been playing a lot just because of the pricing. Like, if you're trying to fit in Atlanta with any kind of pitching, like, Velasquez has a home run in 3 straight games. Guy's knocking the cover off the baseball right now.
Yeah, and I think Melendez went on one last week or something. It's crazy, but yeah, absolutely. I totally get playing Kansas City as a cheap stack, Stevie. I wouldn't fight you on that because they really do open it up. Melendez, Velasquez, outside of Bobby Witt, feels like this whole team is under 4K for the most part. Massey, I think, had a couple good games. So I'm with you in just maybe pairing them because once again, Stevie, Kikuchi could very well still have 18 fantasy points in this game and they score 4 runs. So I totally get it. I'm all about mixing and matching some of the cheap pieces. I probably don't go past too deep for me, but I totally get it.
All right, Toronto side of this game, opener situation, yes. Long relief situation. Brandon Belt potentially back in the lineup here. He was dealing with an illness and missed Wednesday's game. They had a day off on Thursday. What are your thoughts here on the Toronto bets?
So Schneider's been incredible. He's 5K. I think he's in. We still don't have to worry about Chapman. Vlad's 5,400. I think you play him. Springer's 4,800. I think you play him. Varsho at 35. I think you get him in. Biggio's been playing a little bit more. He's 2,700. So I think there's enough, between Biggio and Kiermaier's been playing as well too at 3K. I think you can get some of these cheap guys in to help you with the upper tier guys. And I think they can score some runs in this spot.
All right, moving on. We got Baltimore at Boston. This game.
Steven, can I ask you one question before we go deep dive in this game?
I'm listening.
Has Boston given up? As a fan, has Boston finally given up? This series against Tampa Bay was rough. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but Tampa's played us good for years. I think the Red Sox are still very much in it. They they need to go on a little bit of a run here.
Yeah.
If they get swept in this series, it's probably lights out. But if they sweep Baltimore here, I think they're very much still in play. They need a lot to happen, but I think they're still very much in play.
Okay.
Looking at the attitude, they seem like they are trying to win games. So, all right, we got Bradish and Houch in this one. 10 total. Baltimore a 120 favorite, so slight favorite to Baltimore here in Fenway. Any interest in Kyle Bradish?
Oh man, I think the answer is going to be no, Stevie. Now look, listen. Bradish has had a great season. Great, this young pitching staff has been okay overall. But I'm not going to allow the Tampa Bay series to fool me here. Boston still, and I know adding Trevor Story to this lineup has increased their K rate, but they're still overall a fairly low strikeout team. I don't think I'm going to play Bradish at 9,200.
I wish he was a little bit cheaper. I wish they would have enticed us in this matchup at 8,500 or something. But overall, I think that if you wanted to take shots on him in large field tournaments, he is a guy that can generate some strikeouts. He typically gives up 1 or 2 runs while generating strikeouts. So doesn't typically give up a ton of home runs, which is nice, especially in Fenway. But the last time this guy pitched against Boston, he got absolutely shelled. It is definitely a large field tournament play only. Houch on the other side of this game, Baltimore has been rolling. This offense has been playing great. They are now ahead of the Rays in the AL East. They have the best record in the AL, 3 games behind the Atlanta Braves for best record overall. So, yeah, overall, I don't really want to play pitching against this Baltimore offense right now.
Yeah, absolutely. No way I'm playing Houch here.
Yeah, let's talk Baltimore bats. I feel like we keep talking about some good spots, but I think Baltimore is another team that's in a good spot today. what are your thoughts here on the Orioles?
Yeah, love this spot, man. We get Rutschman, 5,200. It's going to be from the left side of the plate today. Santander will be from the left side of the plate today. We should have Mullins in the lineup for 4,700. He'll be, and they bat Mullins in the 6th spot. Maybe they switch it around a little bit today. I'm not sure, but he should be in play. Henderson should be in play. Like this is a good spot for this lineup, Stevie. So I'm very excited to get some Baltimore exposure today. They should be able to put up some runs for sure.
Boston side, Verdugo, he was out of lineup. He's dealing with like a hamstring injury, so he missed the last game of the Rays series. Something to kind of note and pay attention to, because I think if he is out again, potentially Abreu hits leadoff. So I mean, definitely, even if you're not like stacking this spot, I think Abreu at like 2,900 is very, very much in play here.
I totally get that. I like these big guys, of course. Let me ask you this as well. How do you feel about our boy Casas? Because Casas has been, I feel like the strikeouts have picked up some, but man, this should be a good spot for him too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he is someone that has been way better the second half of the season. He was someone that a lot of people were excited about coming into the season, and just kind of started slow. But I mean, really, like the second half of the season has been great for him. So I don't mind Casas here.
Yeah, 4,300, especially if you're playing this lineup, building around the big best Devers, and Yoshida at 4,500. I think he fits right in as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Devers is your first piece in. I think if you're stacking Boston, I don't think I'm stacking Boston in this spot. I think Kyle Bradish has been good enough where maybe a cheap bat or two, maybe a little mini stack, 3-man stack or something. But overall, I think they've earned our respect at this point. Baltimore has.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh at Atlanta taking on the Braves.
Oh yes.
The Braves, man, 9.5 total in this game. Braves are 205 favorites. We have Keller and Elder facing off against each other. Mitch Keller, I mean, has had a really, really solid season.
Yeah.
But now he gets Atlanta, and I mean, it's just this team is not the team you want to be a right-handed pitcher facing right now.
Yeah, I will not be playing Mitch Keller today, but I'm just not playing Mitch Keller. Yep.
I mean, I'm not playing anybody against the Braves, but you could do worse on this slate at 8,100. If he was like 7K here, I think we'd have a way more serious conversation about maybe taking a shot.
7K, I'm interested.
Yeah,
very interested actually.
Bryce Elder on the other side of this game. Bryce Elder is someone that just continues to struggle with lefties. I mean, Bay, Reynolds, Sozinski, Palios, Rodriguez, Rivet. Like, I think there's too many lefties for me to have interest in Bryce Elder today.
Yeah. I wasn't going to play him anyway, just because the upside has just come down, Stevie. Like, man, it's been bad. So I'm with you. I'm not playing Bryce Elder in this spot.
Let's talk bats. I mean, on the Pittsburgh side of things here, just a stack that is, I don't know if I'd stack them, but I think like maybe going Reynolds and taking 2 other lefties with him, like some of these cheap guys, is a viable like mini stack today. But I mean, they're really cheap, and Elder, he's not going to strike left-handed hitters out, and it's a ballpark bump for Pittsburgh going into Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. This team, man, like, so here's the one thing that I know about this team right now. No McCutchen, all these guys, it won't matter. Like, they've been playing these young guys down the stretch here. And Stevie, they're still so cheap. This might be the stack of the day, believe it or not. Like this might be the stack of the day, and I'm not saying it's going to come out of nowhere, but they're very cheap to be in such a good hitting environment, and I'm in.
Yeah, cheap, and definitely like some of these left-handed bats in this one. So, Atlanta, I mean, we should note that Austin Riley was dealing with an illness and did not play on Thursday. I mean, what do you say for like Atlanta has made DFS baseball so like they're so expensive, so it's really tough to make it work. But I mean, every day you could play Atlanta. Every day, like any part of the lineup, anybody that cracks the lineup, you could play anybody that cracks the lineup every day.
Yeah, I mean,
they're great. I mean, they are the World Series favorite for a reason.
Yeah.
They are a really, really sound baseball team, and I mean, the contracts that they have, like this is a team we're going to be talking about for the next 5-6 years. It reminds me a lot of like the Maddox Smoltz days where they just kind of built a team, Chipper Jones, like, and they were just good every year. Atlanta management, man, they've got it figured out.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing about this team too, Stevie, is I feel like so they've made good contract decisions, but then they've also went out and got some guys. Like Rosario hasn't been there the whole time. They had to go out and get him. They had to go out and get Marcell Ozuna. And they stuck with Ozuna even when he had that down stretch. And now he's come around. It's like he's been our hottest hitter at times. So I like this team overall. You know, Sean Murphy's price has come down again now. He's under 5K at 4,800, so I like that. Olsen's 62. Albies is 6K because he's been hitting pretty well. You know, Acuna is going to stay in that range, but we can still play Rosario. We can still play Harris. We can still play Ozuna. Like this trio has been the value trio of the year. Ozuna, Harris, Rosario. And then you wrap that around with some of these other guys, and it's how you've kind of been able to make the Braves work, especially, Stevie, during the stretch where it felt like Ozuna was hitting a home run every day. Like this combination has worked out well. So I'm never going to tell you to fade Ronald Acuna in your Brave stat, but I think Ozuna, Harris, Rosario is the key to all the stacks right now on DraftKings.
Yeah, I remember when Michael Harris came back from injury earlier this year. We were like talking, is Atlanta gonna DFA Ozuna? I mean, that's how bad he was doing, and like this dude has 33 home runs on the season. Like he made me eat a hat for sure. He's crushing the baseball. He hasn't slowed down. I mean, he keeps crushing the baseball. He's at 4,800. He's probably underpriced for his production. So. All right, we got Oakland at Texas, where we go next here. This game has a 9 total. The Rangers are a 350 favorite. I checked again really quick just to make sure, but Blackburn against Montgomery. Any interest here in Paul Blackburn?
No.
Not against Texas. I mean, there's
not
some
against
spots.
Texas.
I played him last time out against LA. That lineup came out and it was pretty bad. And I mean, I think that was very, very usable spot. Michael in chat says, I'm telling my 2-year-old that A is for Atlanta and B is for Brave stack. That's hilarious. Let's talk Jordan Montgomery, 9,400. He's been up and down. It feels like Oakland is just not a great offense, just in general. Any interest here in Montgomery?
So at 9,400, I feel like I'll consider it because of the spot. Like, but I do feel like Montgomery has been severely overpriced, like half the season. And he's borderline today. I think I'm willing to take a shot at this price because he could get the 25 fantasy points in this spot.
Yeah, I think he is someone, if he's like uber chalky, I'm probably out, right? I don't want to play a chalky Jordan Montgomery. But if for some reason, because of his price, he's just not getting a ton of ownership, I mean, he has a really high floor. Just overall, there is a 9K pitcher that I like more than him. We'll talk about Kyle
Oh,
Harrison here in a few
oh
minutes,
yeah, absolutely. Hands
um,
down.
but yeah, I think that Montgomery is very much in play today. Oakland bats. Anything here on the Oakland side?
I'm going to fade Oakland today. I don't think I need them, so yep, taking the fade.
I mean, Ruiz against the lefty has been good this year. Roker against the lefty has been good this year. Zach Geloff has been good against everybody ever since he got called up. I'm probably not stacking against Montgomery, but I could see maybe using a one-off. And, Ruiz, you're trying to get a couple stolen bases. The Texas bullpen's been struggling. So, yeah, I mean, maybe a little like 1-2. I don't know if I get to a 3-man, but, definitely looking at some value here for Oakland.
Yeah.
Texas bats, we should note that, like, Garcia, he's going to get placed on – I don't think he got placed on the IL today, but it's happening. Like, it's coming.
Yeah.
So
no, he was placed. He was placed today. He was placed late this evening.
So yeah, he's going to be out of the lineup, which could potentially open a cheap bat up or two. What are your thoughts here on the Texas bats?
Yeah, so most likely they're going to play Grossman and Jankowski in this spot. I gotta think. So I know for sure. I think those two. I mean, Seager, man, this is a great spot for him at 6,400. Like him a ton. I still think it's a good team. Garver's been great. We'll have Nate Lowe, Simeon. I still want to get some exposure to this team. I do want to see the lineup though, but him being out, those cheap backs are going to be there, and I think that's going to help us play this team if we want to.
All right, Mets and Twins. We got Senga and Keuchel, 9 total. The Mets are a -200 or -120 favorite. Senga's 10K matchup against Minnesota. I don't understand this line. Help me with this line. Like, why is Keuchel getting this much respect against Senga? It. I don't get it. I think, like, if you're paying up Senga, I mean, ceiling wise, he has to be on in the conversation. Like, he's someone that has thrown over 6 innings in 5 straight, 6 of his last 7 starts. He's been pitching great. Minnesota's a huge strikeout team. Like, I mean, Senga could dominate this team today.
Yeah, I like Senga a ton here. And I do think Senga's worth the 10K, Stevie, because he does have the strikeout stuff. Now, and to me, that's the difference between him and Jordan Montgomery. When Montgomery was 10-2, 10-3, it's like, well, why? His strikeout stuff isn't that elite. Well, Senga, and this is the past 2 games, don't get me wrong, 12 and 10 respectively against Seattle and LA. But even over the season, Stevie, this is a guy that's hovered around 28, 29, 30%. And today he gets the ultimate strikeout matchup in Minnesota. So I'm not saying he's going to get double digits, but I think 6 to 8 is a reasonable expectation. So I like Senga a lot here.
I have zero interest in Dallas Keuchel.
No.
I don't get this line.
No, not doing
at all. Mets bats, dude. I love Alonso. Against Dallas Keuchel, Lindor and Alonso. Like, sign me up. Like, I'm in. I don't even care about the pricing. I'm in. Like, yeah. I don't know if I full stack, but these two guys, like, alone, single, like playing them by themselves or playing an expensive 2-man in a cheaper value stack, but. I love Alonso and Lindor in this spot. And they're both under 5K, so it's not like they're extremely expensive. What are your thoughts on the Mets?
Yeah, man, I think the Mets are fine, which I feel like, Stevie, every time I play the Mets or decided I want to play the Mets, they do nothing. And then last week I decided I said, let me max enter a contest. I went in at max enter, and the Mets went slap off. How many Mets I had? No Mets stacks. I had all like one-offs, Stevie. I had all the good Mets one-offs and no actual stacks. So of course that didn't go well for me that day. But against Dallas Keuchel, I have to do it. Alonso's under 5K at 4,900. Can't pass that up. We've got Lindor at 4,800. That's under 5K. Can't pass that up. We've got Alvarez at 3,600, under 4K at catcher. Can't pass that up. Stevie, the spot feels too good to be true. The Mets are probably going to score 1 run today, but I don't care. It's Dallas Keuchel. We have to attack this spot.
Ventos at 2,200. If you're playing Lindor and
one.
if you're playing a Lindor and Alonso and want to throw in a third piece to make it like a lot cheaper and make it work, he's 2,200. Michael says in chat, if the line is that bad, shouldn't you bet the Twins? I personally would be taking the Mets money line if I was going to bet this game. It's already moved. It opened at like minus 108, and it's already moved to minus 120. I expect it to probably finish in the 130, 140 range. I think the Mets are going to be a decent favorite in this game by the time this game goes live. Minnesota Bats, any interest in the Twins here?
No.
I mean, that's where I'm at.
I'm not doing it against Senga. No.
Very interesting game here. We got San Diego at Houston, 8.5 total. The Astros a 135 favorite. Brown and Snell. Blake Snell, 10-8. It's starting to turn it back up again. Pitched really good the last couple starts. Again, one of those matchups was against San Francisco, and then one of those matchups was against the Cardinals, who they have no idea what they want to do right now. But Blake Snell, 10-8. Any interest here against Houston?
No. I'm not playing anybody against Houston right now. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I mean, they're healthy, and they're a tough offense. Hunter Brown, 8,600. Hunter Brown's the type of guy that could potentially attack this lineup. Any interest in Brown at 8,600?
I don't really want to play him, Stevie, but I think the price and the possible upside in mass multi-entry, I think you do it. And I've been kind of talking about this when you want to play these big offenses and you look at the slate. And in my opinion, Steven, I'm not going to, cover it up, but, or cover it rather, but Harrison, Canning, Perez, Brown, like Kikuchi, probably Allen as well. Like that feels like the range for me to get my big offenses. And so that's kind of where I am. And so he goes in the pool today, but I don't feel as good about him as some of the other guys.
I like Brown. I mean, he has a 27% K rate on the season. He does a great job generating ground balls, doesn't typically go out there and get blown up. San Diego has a lot of ground ball hitters. You just worry about the walks, but I'll take some shots here, and hope the walks just kind of stay down. Definitely would prefer getting like a pitcher's umpire behind the plate in this game. I think that would help Brown a little bit, and I think every little bit helps. But yeah, I mean, I'm attacking his like strikeout upside in this matchup. I think, you look at the 27% Ks and say we should probably take a shot on him against San Diego. Who have they given up? Is another question. So yeah, I have a little interest in Brown. As far as the San Diego Bats go, I mean, Tatis, Soto, they're okay. Just not my favorite spot. I'm not really in love with San Diego today.
Yeah, like you said, I think Soto's just okay. One of the main reasons why I play Soto, I actually play him less for home runs and just more for his plate discipline, even though he's expensive, because he's just a guy that gets fantasy points, I feel like, every at bat. And so if he just keeps getting points, they add up. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I like Soto in a spot like this against a guy like Brown, who he's probably going to work a little bit. So, generally speaking, I like that. But all in all, I'm not crazy about stacking San Diego today.
It's a good thrown ball by Jared Goff. That was a good thrown ball.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, good thrown ball. Houston Bats against Snell. Like, Houston is extremely expensive. I think if I'm playing Houston, it's a stack. Like, with these prices, I think you have to stack them if you're playing them today.
Yeah. Stevie, no question about it. This is an absolute stack spot for this team. I mean, absolute stack spot. You got Blake Snell against a hot offense. McCormick is there. Brantley is there. Dubon's there. Pena's there. Bregman is there. Altuve is there, 6,200. You got Abreu at 36, who will open up a little bit. And then we got our boy Martin Maldonado at 2,300 at catcher to throw into this stat, who had just an explosion of a game against Texas. And this whole team did. I like this spot, Stevie. This is one of my favorite spots of the night, even against a good pitcher, because this offense has been so great. And I think they're going to carry fairly low ownership on an 11-game slate against one of the better name value strikeout pitchers on this slate.
Cleveland at LA taking on the Angels, 8.5 total in this game. The Guardians, a -126 favorite. We have Canning and Allen facing off against each other. Any interest here in Logan Allen?
Yeah, I have some interest, Stevie, at 8,400 against the Angels, who've been striking out a ton down the stretch. It's just that reason. He goes in the pool. That mid 8K range is my sweet spot today. I'm going to mix and match a lot of these pitchers. He's one of them. I think the strikeouts can be there if he can limit the run damage today.
Yeah. Moniak got scratched on Thursday with back flare up. Rengifo left the game early with a bicep injury, and Ohtani didn't play again. So,
yeah.
I mean, how do we not have a little interest in Allen, depending on what this lineup looks like? So, yeah, I'm interested a little bit. I want to see what the lineup looks like. Pricing just tough today. When you look at all the bats and all these 8K pitchers, they didn't give us these cheap Griffin Canning 7,300 type guys. But I mean, Griffin Canning on the other side of this game, I have some interest in him as well today. Cleveland's not a lineup that I'm necessarily scared about. I talked about Canning on the podcast yesterday. What are your thoughts here on Canning?
Yeah, I like Canning, Stevie. And honestly, he might have some of the highest upside in this particular range. We've seen him dial up some nice strikeout performances this season. And, this is another spot where a guy can probably get you mid-20s at 8,800. Love Canning today. Real nice spot for him.
Let's go Cleveland bats. Anything stand out to you here on the Cleveland side?
Outside of Quan and J-Ram, nah.
Yeah, man, just to kind of give everybody an idea, Cal Quantrill is dominating the Angels right now. He has 5 strikeouts and 4 1/3 with 3 hits allowed. What? This lineup, man.
It's the Angels. That's all it is.
It's this lineup. It's just not good right now. All right. I mean, Cleveland, not a team that I love. You could take some shots on Naylor Ramirez. Angels, we might get a lot of cheap bats. Grichuk, 3,400. If he cracks the lineup. O'Hoppe at 3,300 as a catcher. I think he's, playable. Grichuk got placed back on waivers, so you'll have to see if he gets claimed or not by maybe a team in contention. But what are your thoughts overall here on the Angels bets?
I'm not playing the Angels bets today. This team's terrible right now, Stevie. So I plan on fading the Angels.
Montgomery just got a rushing touchdown.
Oh, no. Well, hey. It is what it is.
Did you take his under rushing yards?
No, I took his over rushing yards, but I needed the touchdown from Goff.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, now you're just kind of hoping that Patrick Mahomes scores really fast, and then we get Detroit, because I need one more catch. I'm sitting over here going, man, I've been at 6 catches here since we started the podcast. What's going on?
I need another Mahomes touchdown as well. So, so here's what happens in this spot, Stevie. If Mahomes gets the ball and they score, they're going to go for 2 to be at 28, and then this team's going to have to drive down the field and score, and then perhaps, Stevie, we get a little overtime.
There you go.
I'm hoping for overtime, to be honest with you, because if we get overtime, that means we're everybody's getting what they want.
Oh yeah. All right, we finish it out with Colorado at San Francisco. Yes, this is a baseball game. Yes, it is towards the end of baseball season, and yes, these two teams are playing. We have Harrison and Bloch. The Giants a 215 favorite. What are your thoughts here on Ty Bloch?
I'm not playing Ty Blotch.
I'm tempted, but I'm probably not going to. Like if you're stacking Atlanta and you're punting, go for it. Like take some shots, go for it. Just because like the Giants are continue to be one of the worst teams in baseball against left-handed pitching, so go for it. Harrison, one of my favorite pitchers on the slate today. I think that he has tremendous upside in this matchup. The Rockies lineup is just not great, and I mean he's an extremely talented young pitcher that hasn't necessarily panned out yet, but he's had some tough matchups. I think this is one of the better matchups he's had since he got called up.
Yeah, man. Stevie, he's probably my favorite pitcher today. We saw what he was able to do against Cincinnati, right? And that was a really good matchup for him because Cincinnati, in that span, they're still striking out pretty much a ton right now. He's getting pretty much the highest strikeout team in baseball down the stretch here just because of some of the pieces. At 9K, Stevie, I want to hit the lock button. I don't think I can quite do it because there's so many other 8K guys, but I'll probably have more exposure to Harrison today than any other pitcher on this
slate. Any Rockies bats in this one for you?
That's going to be a nope.
Yeah. My job is just to ask the questions. I will say, like, man, they're so bad. They're so bad. There's a lot of cheap bats here. I think Rogers at 3K is very playable in this spot. Giants bats, I mean, they platoon a ton. Any interest here in the Giants bats?
Maybe. Like, I mean, Flores is probably going to be fine. He's 3,900. JD Davis is 3,500. You can get him at third base. I feel like JD and Wilmer might get pulled before JD, I think. I feel like JD is less likely to get pulled. All in all, though, I'm not thrilled about taking the Giants, even against Ty Blott.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled. I will say like Flores, Haniger, JD Davis, they're all cheap. If you want to one-off these guys, I don't hate it. I should have mentioned Hunter Goodman on the Rockies side is really cheap. He has some power. Got called up recently. I don't mind him. You can play him at catch, or no, you can't play him at catcher anymore. You can play him at outfield though at 2,900. So I don't hate that. That's really it for me. Joey Bart got recalled. If he's back, if he's in the lineup for this one, he's 2,300 against the lefty catcher. So, all right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here. Go watch the last 6 minutes of this football game. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got today?
Yeah, under 8K was always going to be tough for me today, Stevie, just because this is a rough spot, but I think I'm going to have to go with Sanchez against Miami.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ton of options today. I'm with you. I'll go Shaheen against Washington. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today? Huge stop. Huge stop for Detroit. Sorry.
Yeah, give me Blake Snell, actually. I'm going very contrarian here. Give me Snell.
How do you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and you're not letting him try to make a play on 3rd and 1? Anyway, over 8K to score under 15 for me today is going to be Perez against Philadelphia. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
We've got a lot of options, Stevie. I think I'm going Corey Seager, 6,400. I like him today against Blackburn.
All right. I'm going to go Gunnar Henderson against a boy Tanner Houch.
I like that call.
Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bat that you like today?
Give me Carlos Santana, the Milwaukee Brewers, at 3,800.
Yeah, definitely don't mind that. I'm going to go Wilmer Flores. Team lefty matcher. Still, I mean, I don't love the Giants today overall, but Ty Blotch is not a guy that's going to power by anybody. I think we could see a good game here from Flores. I hate the fact that we have to play him at first base. I like him more on FanDuel than I do on DraftKings. But yeah, he's a guy that I definitely don't have a problem getting 2 hits under 4K. We finish it out. Stack the score, 6 or more runs. Who's getting the job done today?
You know what? I'm going contrarian. Give me Pittsburgh against Elder.
Okay, definitely don't hate that. I'll go a little off the board as well. Give me the Mets against Keuchel.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
So, it's the weekend. It's time for some football. We did record the NFL podcast on Wednesday night. So if you want to check that out, it's up on the podcast feed. You can check that out on RotoGrinders or iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. We're all over the place nowadays. Will and our boy Luch brought back their podcast as well. And I think it was Tuesday Food for Thought came out. So that's up on the podcast page as well. That is also under the daily fantasy football podcast here at RotoGrinders. So if you're looking for that on iTunes, but it's Food for Thought week 1. And they had some chicken sandwiches. So check that out. We're going to get out of here. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. We'll be back on Monday talking baseball, talking about how we overreacted to so much stuff for football, and we'll have some fun. But have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you then.